All right, welcome to another episode of The Producing Half, where we tackle the insane world we live in from a producing person's perspective, a working class, not the socialist working class, or not the socialist American workers' party, but from a producer, someone who's out there producing, and people are out there producing. It's hard for us producers to pay attention to the crazy world we live in and make sense of it. It's just too weird. Everything that's going on is too bizarre. The news has went off the rails. I mean, it was always definitely agenda driven in the news, no matter what station you're on. Some were a little better than others, but they all had an agenda. Just because the agenda agrees with you doesn't make it any better. Actually kind of makes it worse, because then you get confirmation bias and you get to the point to where you are, you get in this bizarre feedback loop where you like what you're hearing because you agree with it, and so it becomes your reality. And that is not healthy. It's good to watch all perspectives. And I find, even though I think I'm right most of the time, I can always look at it from the other person's point of view, and sometimes, if they're not entirely unhinged, I can see their point or how they got to that thought process. But the news has went off the rails. I mean, you can't understand it. I mean, the things they report are so bizarre. I like to say we live in the world where the emperor has no clothes. Well, now nobody has clothes. I mean, everybody's just walking around completely nude, and we're all supposed to point out how awesome their clothes look. To kill an analogy or beat a proverb until it's dead. You watch the news and you're like, what? Whoa. The riots, which were killing real people and burning down real people's homes and real people's businesses and destroying real people's cars and other property, murdering real people, were peaceful protests. And some grandmas and some wackadoos peacefully, not peacefully, just shuffling retardedly through the Capitol building is an insurrection. It's like, what? I watched that. The vast majority of them were let in. It's a narrative that makes no sense, and I don't participate. When anybody starts talking about the insurrection, I just feel like, I don't care about your retarded narrative. It wasn't an insurrection. Was retarded people doing retarded things, and that's it. I'm not gonna. I'm done talking. I don't even talk about it, because it is so far from reality that if someone truly believes that those wackadoos walking through the Capitol building, taking pictures. I heard people arguing, no, don't touch that. That's sacred. That's part of. I mean, yeah, these are insurrectionists that are respecting. I mean, you had the guy with the horns who was obviously a freak. It wasn't an insurrection. It was retarded people doing retarded things, but they weren't. It was outrageous for sure. It was outrageous that they let it happen, and that's the key. The people in power let it happen on purpose to produce this narrative. And they're spending more money and more time locking people up for trespassing. I think that's what they're getting charged with, is trespassing, which is a misdemeanor. They got the FBI hunting people down for trespassing. And they've got the 9/11 style hearings in committee to track down these trespassers. Meanwhile, some very intelligent people are pointing out that some of the leaders and instigators of it aren't being charged or named because they were probably FBI agents or provocateurs, people who kind of worked for the FBI. And that happens so much. The FBI doesn't solve crimes anymore. Not your average FBI agent. He probably just wants to do good. But whenever you talk about these government agencies, I'm always talking about the heads, the Hydra. But the FBI doesn't solve crimes. They create the crime to solve it. They create the jihadists. They set up the fake bombing. What about that thing in Houston where the FBI agents were completely involved, and one of them was arrested by a cop driving away from the scene of a mass shooting? The army here, that shooting was in Texas. The army was just found culpable in that for not registering the guy with the federal background check so he could buy a gun. Well, they're more culpable. He escaped from a mental hospital, and they didn't bother to hunt him down. No, he was a. They knew he was deranged. They knew he was going to do something stupid. They let him out because it fit a narrative they want of crazy gun owners and people who are going to go shoot up. They need to take away your gun rights. It's hard to enslave a population that is armed. It's not impossible. They're doing it. It is. Look at Canada. The things they're doing to the people in Canada. I thought Canada was, the more adult of the two nations in North America, but they went off the rails there. You can't get away with some of the things they're doing in Canada because they're so extreme that Americans would resort to. They would defend themselves with their firearms. So an armed populace does prevent a cop 100% violating and committing a crime. Police committing crimes, going into people's homes and committing crimes, because that's what they're doing. They're going to be less likely to do it if they know that the people on the other side of that door have guns and they're willing to use them. I'm not one of those people, I'm sure. I've been too domesticated, I guess, and most of Americans have. But the news is just. Somebody pointed out to me today that the narrative on the Cuban revolution protest or whatever was that they're protesting, they're rioting, they're revolting because they don't have enough vaccines. What? Do you really think this was the news on the mainstream, like the main news channels, was that they're protesting, they're revolting because they don't have enough vaccine. You kidding me? They don't care about a vaccine. They're hungry. They're starving. That is the news. It has a complete disregard of what's real anymore. I haven't watched the news, so people have to point things out to me. These last month or so, I've kind of checked out a little bit on the news because it's so hard. It'll drive you crazy. I was catching up on some series that I've been reading, not any educational, just a waste of time series, and just been enjoying life for the last 30 to 60 days, and kind of checked out a little bit. But it is, and as soon as I check back in for 5 minutes, I'm like, it's gotten worse. It's hard to believe that it can keep getting worse. And when does it stop? The complete disregard for inflation, which is insane. I am constantly in my work seeing prices set new records and profits aren't. It's not like everybody's making more money. They're maintaining. I mean, times are good in the industries that I do business with, but they are the pricing is ridiculous. The only thing keeping it all afloat right now is the artificially low interest rates, and that can't last forever. Inflation, you go to the store, everything costs them. I went to go buy fireworks, and I couldn't do it. I was like the old man walking through. I remember when it was unreal how much everything cost and how little you got it. The grocery store is a nightmare. Everything is so expensive. I went to go buy a brisket the other day, and it was triple digits. I've never spent more than like $50 on a brisket, and they were triple digits. They were over $100 for a brisket. I think they used to throw briskets away in the old days. I don't think not throw them away, but they're like junk meat. Kind of like fajitas. I think fajita meat was junk meat too. But inflation is, I think Biden tweeted something out, or the White House tweeted something out about you're going to save 17 cents or something like that on July 4th weekend on barbecue. Like, in what universe? That is so far from reality that it is beyond insulting. It's criminal to put something like that out. Inflation is skyrocketing. I guarantee you that real world inflation for us people who actually care about the price of milk and care about the price of cheese and care about the price of consumer goods, real world inflation is double digits. Not even 7, they say it's like 3 or 4%. I'm not even saying it's 8, 9. I'm saying it's double digits, upward towards 20%. would be my guess. In the high teens is the real world inflation that we're all experiencing. But price, I saw another post, or somebody told me, my wife probably showed me a post where it said this was maybe the head of the EU, or maybe it was German's chancellor, said that the great thing about inflation is that wages will rise. What insanity is that? Have they never read an economics book? That's not how that works. Real world wages will not keep up with inflation. It just doesn't work that way. And I had to go get my car serviced, and the news they touch on the whole supply chain issue, but they just touch on it. I don't understand why people aren't panicking. Building my computer that I do this on was a nightmare. Just getting a video card. You're basically in a lottery system, and I ended up with an outdated 2070 Super that I paid like $700 for. It's a $300 card. You pay $700 for. I was going to buy a top-end card for like $1,000, but you can't get them. But that is partly due to when I was doing it. It was before the supply chain collapse, but now it's even worse. So the supply chain is collapsing all over for everything. You go to the store and there's so many things they don't have, but it's the other things, like when you go to the hardware stores or you go to the electronic stores, getting an appliance. Are you kidding me? I work with builders. They can't get appliances. Well, anyways, I go to the car lot to get my car. It's scheduled maintenance. I thought it was an oil change, but it was just a tire rotation. My car tells me it's time for a tire rotation, and I got to drive it to a dealership for that and sit there for 2 hours. What a pain. So I go do that. They have no cars in the parking lot. This is a huge car lot. I'm talking about one of the biggest I've ever seen, with hundreds and hundreds of employees and thousands of cars. It was a ghost town. There are no cars. I asked the service guy, I said, well, what are the salespeople doing? He just blew me off. He's like, oh, no, I don't work in that department. Well, pal, if you ain't selling cars, you're not going to be servicing them either. You might want to check on that. There's no cars in this giant dealership. One of the big ones. It's I don't know what it is. Is it a Red McCombs dealership? That's a great question. What is this dealership? I think I have it on my keychain. I'm horrible with names. It's a Universal Toyota. Yeah, it's Universal Toyota. Anyways, it's a huge car lot. Huge. I mean, they had, hundreds, if not thousands, of new cars for sale there, and it's a ghost town. There was none. There's no new cars. I don't know what those people are doing. That's a problem. It's this scarcity, and it's everywhere. This false scarcity, and the scarcity is real, but the reasons they're giving to me sound fake. They sound hollow. They sound contrived, and I don't understand the end game there. Like, why create these false scarcities? Why create these false, not panic, but this sense of there's not enough out there? Why start doing that? Is it to get us used to scarcity, to get us used to not being able to get, like, if it is instantly, if Americans instantly go from being able to get anything they want, at a moment's notice, and they just gradually get us used to, not being able to get what we want, where we have to wait in lines, we got to put our names, we got to go on lotteries in order to get what we want. It's just like some gradual, like, kind of like, the whole lobster in boiling water. If you graduate it, or frogs, and we just slowly increase the water, they don't realize they're getting boiled alive. I don't know, but the inflation is insane. The lack of things, the fake scarcity supply chain problem is insane. I'm not talking about it, and jobs are insane. As far as, first of all, you can't get. I talked to so many people who can't get workers. And we try to hire, and all the people I talk to who have jobs, and they try to hire, in the building industry, they can't get anybody to work. They can't get anybody to do any real work, hard work. And neither, nobody I know. It's like that for everybody. And I was just in Subway today, and the workers in Subway were all adults. That's a job for high school kids. Working in a Subway is a job for high school kids. And I was in a Sonic, and it was an adult. And I'm not talking about a 20-something. I'm talking about like a 40-something-year-old. And I was in I don't remember where else I was. It was some other place that all your convenience stores are adults. These are jobs that you have when you're in high school or first starting off in college so you can get by. Why are adults doing these jobs? To me, that's a very alarming thing that these adults are taking these jobs. I don't understand it. Taking entry-level minimum wage jobs. But I know there's good jobs out there that they need to hire. Now, they're not necessarily easy, and some of them you'd have to get a license. Like the other day, I went to 2 different places to get gas, and they were all sold out. This is Texas. There was no gas shortage that I know. Why didn't they have gas? I didn't bother to go in and talk to the people there to see why they didn't have gas. But it was weird. The second place I went to had the non-ethanol gas, but they were out of the ethanol, the normal gas, the E85 or no, whatever it is. I like the non-ethanol gas anyways, the old real gas. So I always get that. That's what I put in when I store gas anyways. Add a little stabilizer to it and it lasts a lot longer. But yeah, the subway today kind of hit home with me. Is like, why am I seeing so many adults doing jobs that high school kids should be doing? And it's worrisome. To me, it's a sign of something that's not good. Something that's coming that I don't understand. A lot of the things I see are wrong. When I watch the news and I see that, like, this is so far from reality. This is insane. You see our poor president, and I'm at the point now I don't even remotely have any negative feelings towards Biden. I don't. Now I just feel sorry for him. Now I feel like it's just true, pure elder abuse, and we should go rescue him. He should be at home enjoying his rest of his years. I mean, he's a horrible person who did evil things and is a racist and is a bad person and participated in the crimes against Americans and humanity for longer than I've been alive. That's how long he's been a politician. I think he became a politician like in the early 70s, and I was born in 74. So for longer than I've been alive, he's been an evil POS. But at this point, he doesn't know. He doesn't remember any of that. I don't understand why they let him talk. He only has to last 2 years, and then they can put Kamala in there. So just keep him in the White House. Keep him away from people. It's embarrassing. I would rather we just don't hear from him. Okay, leave him in office. That's fine. At this point, let's just try to lessen the embarrassment of the American people. Let's just try to make it so we're not so ashamed whenever the rest of the world's looking at him and laughing at us. Let's just lock him in the White House. Don't let him talk to the reporters. Don't put him on camera. We'll all pretend he's the president. We know he's not, but we'll all pretend. I'll pretend as well. I'll be like, hey, man, that Biden, haven't heard from him in a while. He must be working hard. In the meanwhile, Condoleezza Rice or Obama will be making the decisions. Whatever. But please get that man off camera. Please don't. It's sad. It's sad, and it's abusive. These people are such POSs. They are such POSs. And then you go into the dreaded disease that we're all fighting. I hate saying what it is these days because it's so politicized. It is insane as well. The narrative behind the Rona is just insane. It makes no logical sense. What's going on? You know, I heard some of the people that I know a few. I know this one QAnon person. Never really looked into the QAnon because it was so retarded. I didn't bother with it. It was bizarre, the things they were saying. When things are that far from reality, you just gotta. Even if they were, you don't want them to be true. Even if they fit your narrative, if the reality is so far from like Trump's really sick of the president and Tom Hanks is locked in Gitmo and Hillary is really, I mean, what? It's just, people, that is so far from reality that it's obviously not true to anyone who has half a brain cell. But let's say for that it was. Holy crap. I don't want that to be true. I don't want reality, the behind the scenes reality to be so different from the front scenes. So I never really paid it. But anyways, I was, when you listen to those Q people, they have this, the conspiracy that they're going to use the shot to, the shot's going to do all these bad things to you, and everybody who's going to get the shot is going to, they're going to get sick or they're going to release something and blah, blah, blah. And if that logically makes no sense. If there was some grand dark conspiracy, and I mean dark, I'm talking about like James Bond dark conspiracy behind the shot, then it would be against the people who didn't take it. Think about it. If you're going to have some sort of behind the scenes James Bond level conspiracy where they're going to release something else, or there's something bad behind that has nothing to do with the Rona that's coming, and it's tied to the shot, who do you think they want to live and who do you think they don't want to live? It would be the people they don't want to live are the people who didn't get the shot. So the conspiracy wouldn't be, if you believe this logic, then you should be foregoing and getting the shot, because you're going to be safe for whatever grand dark conspiracy they have coming. I don't think that's true. I mean, I assume it's not. I hope it's not. There's always the possibility, but to me, it's the same possibility of getting struck by lightning. I'm still under the impression that they're not smart enough to keep it all secret. I know that's naive of me, but that's still the impression I'm under. I don't think that's it. I'm extremely disappointed in that I think it is all just about money. It is literally just about money. It is so sad and disappointing and just banal that it is only about money. The whole shot and the fact that you can't talk about the horse medicine. Well, let's say that it's not. Billions of people take this medicine all over the world, but you can't even talk about the horse medicine, because if there was an alternative, a valid alternative treatment, then they wouldn't have got the emergency authorization for the shot, and then they wouldn't be making millions upon millions upon billions of dollars off the shots. That's all this is about, I think. The whole, not the Rona. The Rona is a legit, disease that was accidentally, but it was definitely lab leak, whether it was on purpose or accident. Probably on accident would be my guess. I'd say about 80-20 on accident. I'd say about 99% chance it did come from a lab. Very smart people, way smarter than me, have said that that's a 90% chance it came from a lab. And we're talking about people who would know, including if you look at Fauci's emails. And by the way, why anybody pays attention to that guy is insane. It's definitely a lab leak, and the Rona is a real problem and a real thing. But it's like a bad flu. I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem because it's new, and so not a lot of people. But after it runs its course, then it's just going to be there. It's never going to go away. They're going to milk this for everybody. All the conspiracies out there. When I say the conspiracies, I mean all the people have an agenda. All the agendas out there have latched onto their Rona because it meets all their needs. That's like the golden ticket of control mechanisms. It allows low status people, especially women, and actually just all low status people, males and women, to feel like they have authority. Hey, you put your mask on. Why aren't you masked 6 feet? Like, well, shut up, mind your own business. I don't wear a mask anymore ever. I'm kind of disappointed that I ever did. It's just because I need to get things done and I don't want to hassle. My wife doesn't like confrontation. But yeah, I don't even have a mask anymore. If somebody asked me to put one on, I'd be like, well, you better give me one because I don't have one. I don't even have one in my car anymore. I don't carry one. I have not one. It was always dumb. It was always retarded. It was the dumbest thing. Let me put this fence, because that's what it is. It's like shooting a BB through a fence. Let me put this giant, gaping, holy cloth mask on my face to meet some narrative for a virus that is so small that I might as well not even be wearing a mask. It is so retarded. It is dumb. No, the mask helps with bacteria and other things. So, I mean, maybe it's an economy of scale kind of thing where maybe it helps 1%. Wearing a mask helps 1%. 1% of the viruses in your breath get trapped into the fibers. Now, you're like, well, what does that matter? Well, it would matter over a billion people. A billion people with a 1% effective actually does make a difference in the whole thing. So I know I just kind of contradicted myself, but it's still retarded. It's dumb. It was always dumb. Everybody knew it was dumb. I knew it was dumb before it even started because I read the white papers on the mask studies before Rona. These mask studies were before Rona, and they talked about how not even N95 masks work more than 30 minutes, and you have to wash your hands and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. The whole mask thing was dumb. It was all done. It was all narrative. It was all control. And now these agenda players, they all know what we Americans will put up with. They all know what the whole world will be put up. They know they've won as far as it comes the authoritarian. They know we'll put up with anything. They pull back a little bit because they're like, oh, okay, well, we're starting to push a little too hard, too fast. But bish, barely. Just barely. These bizarre, like, narratives that are coming out, the fact that they're revolting in countries where they're starving because they can't get the shot. What? I have not got the shot. I have no plans on getting the shot. Not that I don't think. I mean, I think that it's. Well, you know what? The guy who invented the technology behind the shot. I watched multiple podcasts with him on it. The guy who invented the technology behind the shot says it's not safe. I don't know what to tell you on that. He says it's not safe. The guy who invented it says it's not safe. He said he told the FDA that it wasn't safe while they were still doing it, and they ignored him. The guy who invented it. Think about that. The guy who invented the technology says it's not safe. Okay, well, who am I going to believe? The evil corporations who get billions of dollars for giving it out, or the guy who invented it and doesn't get anything? I'm going to go with the guy who invented it. I don't think it's unsafe. There's a difference between something being not safe and something being unsafe. It's not safe to go to a shooting range and shoot guns. It's not safe. It's not unsafe. It's just not safe. It's just there's risk, and so there's risk in taking the and getting the shot, and there's risk in not getting the shot. I have been exposed to so many people who have tested positive, spent hours and hours in the offices, in small offices with them who had test positive. I'm praying to the Lord Almighty that I'm immune, or I've had it and I just didn't know it. Because I would be one of those stats, one of those morbidities, people that should have gotten the shot. I told my children they can get the shot if they want, and they're 14 and 15. If you want to get it, you can get it if you want. They don't want to. And actually, young children shouldn't take it, from what I'm seeing, especially young boys with the whole heart issues. And before I saw the guy who invented it, I did hear other podcast doctors talk about the fact that if it's being found in other parts of the body and it's not staying where it's supposed to. And I saw this one, and I can't find it again, where they talked about how if it was done right, if you got the shot right, and it was administered right, and they didn't go too deep, and they got it where it needed to go, and they didn't get in the blood, that it would stay there and it would be safe. But he said the vast majority of people are not trained well to give you the shot, so they're going to do it wrong, and it's going to be all over your body, and it's not good. I mean, the guy invented it says not good. I believe him. I watched the Weinsteins, the brothers, the Dark Horse podcast, I think it is. I've watched it a few times. They are special, to say the least. But there's, no one can say they're dumb. They're definitely super intelligent, and they're not. They're very careful in what they say. They're not hyperbolic. They are very measured and careful. And I had heard about the horse medicine a long time ago, actually by watching a Senate hearing, I believe, where a doctor was testifying in front of the Senate about the horse medicine. And that's when I started getting some just to have, just in case. Now, my wife had already had that horse medicine because it actually works on humans for rosacea, maybe? Something like that. Anyways, so we already had it, but I got the real stuff for humans because I'm not going to lick a tube of paste. That's ridiculous. So I got the real stuff. I got some from Mexico and got a prescription for it. So I'm fine if I need any of the horse medicine. I'm not going to take it as a preventative measure because, I've already been exposed to bunches. I guess if I knew I was going to go spend a bunch of time with somebody who was currently had the Rona, then I might take a pill. The stuff I got from Mexico is twice as strong as the stuff I got from my doctor. So I don't know what the dealio there is. I'd have to do a little bit of research to see what they're taking, like in Africa and stuff, for the whole river blindness thing and other parasites that you do. But I haven't. Why did I have to get it from Mexico? And why did I have to concoct a complicated story so that my doctor would prescribe it to me about going and visiting some white trash family in Kentucky that have pinworms and roundworms, and I needed to take this as a precaution so I wouldn't get some of their infections. You come up with some strange narratives just to be prepared. Like I said, I haven't taken any and don't plan on taking it. Now, if I got sick with the Rona, then I would take it to help alleviate it, maybe equal the odds there. But the whole narratives, the things they're saying about all these things, the lotteries for the shot, the news around the shot is so insane and so blatantly agenda driven and so in bed, like just toting the water for these pharmaceutical companies that are just raking it in. It is so sad. Oh, and I saw our good old friend Trump at CPAC in his speech. He's as big as ever, and what did my wife say? She said, man, are they going to let him live? Because he's not going away. They've taken everything away from him, and he's still just as big and just as popular. And who are they going to put up against him this time? I mean, they're blatant, the horrific irregularity. I mean, the fact that the election has been totally compromised was so obvious the last election. Are they going to do it again to try to prevent him? I mean, can they let him become the president again? They tolerated him for 4 years, but only by just spending the entire time investigating him and having the entire media against him. Would they be able to survive another 4 years? Would their agendas and all their plans be able to survive another 4 years of Trump? I don't know. I don't know if they would let that happen. But he's definitely going to be the Republican nominee, and he's still 100% can win it unless they try to steal it, unless they put somebody other than a sad old man who doesn't even know where he's at up against him. I don't know who. Maybe if they did Tulsi, but they don't want her. They don't want her to go. They don't want her in office. And they were super afraid that Bernie was going to win. Luckily, he's too old now as well. Maybe that libertarian Dave Smith, maybe he'll be the next one. I heard he's going to run. But yeah, Trump is just as big. And I'm saying the same old. But he speaks the truth. I mean, he says it in a very unarticulate and bombastic and kind of cringy way. But, I mean, it's basically the truth. I said this something the other day, kind of to wrap it up, bring it all around, is I was saying this to, I know this guy, he's Hispanic, and he's, he's ultra religious, very much Trumpian, way more than me. Trump is God. Well, not really, because he's very religious, and so he doesn't put any idols above God. But Trump is a gift from God. And he was talking about how everybody's got to hate white people now. White people are this and white people are that. He obviously he doesn't believe any of that, and he's being sarcastic when he's telling that to me. But I told him, I said, white people are failing this country. White people have abandoned the American culture. White people have abandoned their jobs. I mean, what I mean by their job, they have abandoned their sacred duty to protect this country and this culture. And I told him, I said, it's up to brown people. I don't think white people can save America. I think it's going to have to be brown people. And black people too, but there's not a lot of them as far as the percentage of the population is going to be. But it's going to be up to non-whites to save this country. And I really think it's going to be brown people. It's going to be Hispanics who have to save America. White people have failed it. White people have been demasculated. They've had their authority taken away. They're too afraid to be called a racist. And no matter what you say, even if you're not even remotely talking about race, and you don't agree with the leftist, socialist, Marxist agenda, you're a racist. And that, for white people, not me, because I don't care. You can call me racist all you want. Bother me none. I know what I believe. That infuriates my wife, by the way, because she knows I don't care about anybody's opinion, because I know what my reality is, and I don't care what you think your reality is. You can call me a racist all you want. I know what I am. I know I'm not, so I don't care if you call me a racist. It doesn't bother me a bit. I'll laugh and go, yep, that's me, Mr. Racist, and I'll move on, because I don't care. I don't care what you say. It doesn't bother me. And all my friends know what I am. They know that I am not a racist, no more than the average Joe or Jose. But it's going to be up to the browns and the blacks. It's going to be non-whites who have to save this country. White people have failed this country. They have allowed the narrative, the fear of the narrative, to demasculate them, to totally just, they have no authority anymore. They have no will to fight. They're just going to allow it all to happen just so they won't be called a racist. They're going to let it all come crashing down around them so that they won't have to be called the big R. So yeah, I was telling this guy, I said, man, brown people are going to have to do it. Now, he's brown, so that's why I was saying brown people. I guess if I was talking to a black guy, and I did see some black guys on YouTube the other day who would definitely, and I saw a couple of YouTube videos of black people in like this whole critical race theory in schools talking about, this one was like a black doctor maybe, and he was preaching the truth. It's going to be non-white people. White people need to step aside and allow these other people you can't call a brown person a racist. He doesn't even remotely care if you call him racist. He does not care. They don't care. It has no teeth. It doesn't affect them. So that takes away the huge power that the left has. The biggest and only weapon, really, that the left has is racism. And so when these non-whites stand up for the American culture, because the American culture does not really have anything to do with one's skin color. I say not really because there was the whole, slavery thing at the beginning. But the American culture today has nothing to do with the color of one's skin. So these non-whites are going to have to step up and fill the role that these feminine white people have just vacated. And and my wife was mad at me the other day saying, why are men, where are the men? She literally said, where are the men? Why aren't y'all doing something about what's going on in these schools? Why are you letting the schools do these to our children? Are we women going to have to step up and do the job of the men and stop this? Like, she was actually angry that that men weren't stepping up to do their job. And I agree with her. But I don't think it's going to be white people. I think we white people we've disregarded our duty. We fear the dreaded R word, and so we're just going to allow it all to happen. We just want to stay under the radar and go about our day and don't worry about any of it. And so we're just going to let it all come collapsing around us, just so we can't be a racist, just so we don't rock the boat. And then it's just going to be, we're going to be in a boat that's on fire and sinking. But hey, we won't be racist, will we? So brown people, black people, people of color who believe in the American dream and the American way of life, it's up to you. You're going to have to step up and stop this critical race theory, leftist, Marxist crap. You're going to have to stop this bizarre lockdown, unconstitutional rules. You're going to have to allow scientists and doctors to talk. You have to stop the censorship on the YouTubes and the Twitter and all the other places where censorship's taken. It's going to be up to y'all, people of color. This is your country now. We white people have, one way or another, we have succeeded our authority. We've given it up. We've thrown it away. So it's up to you, people of color. Step up. Fill the void left by the demasculated and just dethroned white folk and keep America America. Make America America again. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be talking to you soon.